Other world news. No longer sure beyond a reasonable doubt. The New York City prosecutors say they are seeking to dismiss all criminal charges against the former IMF chief Dominic Strauss-Kahn. This because they suspect his accuser, Nafissatou Diallo, has repeatedly given false information. Well, if the charges are formally dismissed later on Tuesday, Strauss-Kahn will be free to leave the United States.
Nafissatou Diallo was silent after her 15-minute meeting with prosecutors. Her lawyer voiced anger at Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance, saying he had denied the right of a woman to seek justice in a rape case.
He has not only turned his back on this innocent victim, but he has also turned his back on the forensic, medical, and other physical evidence in this case.
On Tuesday, the prosecution filed a motion at the New York District Court asking to dismiss all charges against the former IMF chief. Dominic Strauss-Kahn was accused of sexually assaulting Diallo, a hotel maid, in May.
I wanted him to go to jail.
But the accuser's credibility was cast into doubt after it became clear she had made a series of lies. Strauss-Kahn's lawyers welcomed the decision to drop the case.
We have maintained from the beginning of this case that our client is innocent. We also maintained that there were many reasons to believe that Mr. Strauss-Kahn's accuser was not credible. Mr. Strauss-Kahn and his family are grateful that the District Attorney's Office took our concerns seriously and concluded on its own that this case cannot proceed further.
The prosecutors haven't denied the complainant's claim. In the documents submitted to the court, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office said there was physical evidence Strauss-Kahn had sex with Diallo, but it was impossible to prove whether it was rape. Credibility of the complaining witness was crucial, but that's what was lacking. In the words of the prosecutors, the case rises and falls on Diallo's testimony.
Well, it's time now for a check of what the French press is leading with on this Tuesday morning. Morning to you, Elena Casas. You're going to be talking us through everything that's making the front pages and the sudden fall of Gaddafi's regime making pretty much the front pages across the board.
Hello again, Tom. Yep, the French press is in a pretty celebratory mood this morning, possibly a little bit ahead of themselves because we're still getting such conflicting reports from Libya. But Le Figaro there obviously decided that the angle it was going to run with. They've got the fall of a tyrant on the front page. They're celebrating the end of 42 years of dictatorship and sponsoring international terrorism, they say. They're also focusing a lot on the French role in the NATO intervention in Libya, in what must be said is a pretty self-congratulatory editorial inside, congratulating Nicolas Sarkozy on his foresightedness in being one of the first to recognise the National Transitional Council and one of the keenest to push for a military intervention in Libya. They even say it proves that France is still an international military power that takes its responsibility to protect civil populations seriously. And it shows, according to them, the fact that Britain and France took such a key role in that intervention proves that the US isn't quite such a significant player in international affairs as it was before. It says it proves these things can be done without the Americans.
All right, so that's the view of Le Figaro, known for its, let's say, right-of-centre opinions. Do the other papers seem to agree with what they have to say?
Well, as you might expect, there's a very different point of view in the communist paper L'Humanité. Their take on the French role in NATO intervention is that the French government is desperately trying to make up for lost ground after it was caught out by the Arab Spring. And they say French politicians had been for years key in turning Gaddafi from an international paragon into a trading partner who got red carpet welcomes in Paris. And now they're badly trying to make up for that. They were caught out, as you might remember, by the fall of Ben Ali in Tunisia, who had been a key French ally. Then French Minister Michel Alliot-Marie actually offered troops to help quell that revolt. And according to L'Humanité, the French government has been trying to make up frantically for starting on the wrong foot with the Arab Spring in the first place. There's a similar perspective in the other left-leaning paper, Libération. They remind us that the NATO firepower might have really helped, but it's the Libyan rebels who really put their lives on the line to march into Tripoli. They point out the task facing the National Transitional Council is really titanic. They have to rebuild a state after Gaddafi spent 42 years really destroying one, and they have to pull together all of these disparate ethnic groups who now all have arms, of course, and who might well, according to one interesting letter in there from the writer Rony Brauman, he opposed military intervention from the beginning, and now he says that the country is full of arms. There's all these groups who have different grievances against one another, and the new government's first role is going to be stopping stopping them turning on one another and using the opportunity of the chaos to start resolving former grievances, ethnic or even personal ones.
Now, if it wasn't for the situation in Libya, there would be another story dominating all the front pages here in France. We had a little clue of it there as to what it was at the top of Libération, the Dominique Strauss-Kahn charges being dropped.
Yes, Le Parisien is the only paper today to make this their biggest headline, but of course this is huge for the French press. We're expecting the New York prosecutors to formally announce later that they will be dropping all charges against him. So Le Parisien there is looking at the chances that he'll be able to return to the French presidential race. They've got a funny cartoon inside showing a worried Gaddafi saying, "I think maybe now I need to hire Strauss-Kahn's lawyers," pointing out there that the dropping of the case is a pretty surprising development considering how much conviction the prosecutors seemed to have in their case just a few months ago.
All right, Elena Casas, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date with the French press. Well, time now for a recap of our top stories here on France 24. Free and